Welcome. Today we're discussing financial management and do people actually have money, and does it actually matter if someone is showing that they have money? The reason I'm thinking about this is because there's a level of discernment that comes with making money. And I talked about this about a year ago on my TikTok. But what I talked about is that there's many levels of money, and you have to make money, then you have to maintain the money, and then you have to manage the money. And so if there's someone out in the world who can have money, but they cannot keep money, you have to be weary of the information that you take from them, right? You would never take information from somebody who you do not want to switch lives with. And even if you want to switch lives with them on the outside, you have to look deeper and say, okay, they make a lot of money, but how is their money management? Are they living off of loans? Are they living off of debt? Are they living off of a illusion in their head that's making them think that they're actually profiting in their business, right? Those are the things I think about as a person that has explored all different ways about the energetics of money. As far as this page is literally all about that. And one of the other things is, it's often said in the way of you can make money, but you have to grow money, which is different from managing the money, right? That's the same thing I'm talking about here. Is that you can make money, but can you grow the money? Or does every dollar that comes in leave as that same dollar and turn into nothing? Can you manage money? Does that dollar turn into nothing, or does it turn into $5? Can you hold and keep that $5? Or does it turn it back into nothing? Like, what is your patterns when it comes to money? Because anyone can make money. Everybody who's watching this video right now does not have a problem making money. If you needed to make $1 today, you could make it. And even if you couldn't make it, you could find it. Right? It gets more difficult and complex and complicated when you start thinking of how could I make 10,000 in a day, 20,000 a day, 30. Like, you can't do the same thing to call in $1 that you have to do to call in 100. But hey, but what I want to say is that nobody on this video that's gonna watch this video from today until the end of time struggles to make money. Nobody struggles to make money. Like, you may struggle with the amounts that you can bring in, but nobody struggles to bring $1 or $2 or to survive. Even in poverty, you're still bringing in money. No one really sucks at making money. Nobody sucks at making money. I don't believe that. Nobody watching this video right now until the end of time can ever convince me that you suck at making money. The problem is, if everybody can make money, why do some people not have any? And the reason why is because either you call in or attract amounts that are too small, or you don't know how to manage it and you don't know how to grow it. That's literally it. And I really pray that this message that I'm trying to broadcast right now makes sense and hits home to people watching this video, because nobody sucks making money. Either you're calling in too small of an amount, because anybody can make five. If I tell you, can you make $10 in a week? You'd figure it out. If you need to make $10 today, 50% of y'all that are watching this video could do that in like 10 seconds. You'd probably just go drive DoorDash, do Instacart. You would go and help a friend move something and they'd pay you $10. Or you'd find something. You'd do something. You'd get something out of your room and go sell it. Take a device you no longer use, take it to the pawn shop. Like, even me, like, I don't suck at making money. Nobody sucks at making money, because you can think of things off your head, top of your head, that you can literally go and make money. Now, like I said, it gets more difficult when you're thinking about 10,000 in a day, 20,000 in a day. I've made maximum, I think right now, like my most in a day is probably 2,600 in one singular day, 24 hours. But I hope that's not the same amount when I'm like 30. I'm 24 right now. When I'm 30, I hope that I'm bringing in $1 million days. Not hope, I know I'll be bringing in $1 million days. So the complexity gets higher as you learn more. But what I'm saying here is that nobody really sucks at making money. Thank you for the like for everyone who's in here. It's mostly that you call in too little, which can literally be fixed because you already bring in money. You just have to scale it up, right? Stop doing things that bring in a small amount. Start only doing things that bring in a larger amount. So if driving DoorDash brings in too little money, find a high-paying job. That brings in more money over time. You just switch the things that are doing little bit amounts of money, bringing in small amounts of money, and you switch them for things that bring in bigger amounts. Find a higher income skill. And learn it really well and go out in the world and start doing it. Use your time wisely to learn skills that pay more. It's really, that part's not hard, right? The bigger problem is you can't manage money and you can't grow money. Now, growing money is fine because time normally grows money. I hope everybody is listening to this right now. This is information that is very, very powerful if you would listen. Money is grown by time. You cannot grow money. So let me break this down really. All right, so making money, and then you have managing money, and then you have maintaining, which I call it maintaining, but it's really growing. So you make, grow, and manage. Okay, I'm breaking this really down. So you're making money, you're either calling in too small. Oh no, I just got a call. I hope my audio, for someone in here, can you let me know if you can still hear me? Can you still hear me? Type a yes in the chat if you can hear me. I just got a phone call and I hope it didn't take my audio out. Can somebody type yes, I can hear you in the chat? I would very much appreciate that. You cannot. Okay. Well, if you say no, that means that you heard the question, which means that you could hear me. Am I tripping? I'm pretty sure you can hear me. But what I'm gonna do is do this. Can somebody type in the chat and let me know if you can hear me? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can hear me because you answered the question. So moving on. So you can make, thank you for answering the question. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate the participation. So that's very helpful because this YouTube channel is not, like, I can't check the live right now. So I very much deeply appreciate the fact that you answered. Okay, so again, your problem is either you call into too much small amounts of money, right? But there's only one fix to that. You just do things that bring in bigger amounts. Because if you're doing something that brings in a small amount, either you're going to have to do it a lot more times, or you can just abandon it and just do something that brings in more money. Think about it, right? You're a reseller online. What is the difference between you selling something on eBay that cost, or you charge, or you're selling it for $600 versus something that is $60? There's no difference. It's just that the product that you put on there, the product that you listed, could bring in more money. The listing takes the same amount of time. Taking the pictures for it takes the same amount of time. Shipping it out takes the same amount of time. Everything else is equal. Listen to what I'm really saying here. It's all equal. So if you want to make more amounts of money, stop doing things that bring you a small amount and start only doing things that bring a bigger amount. Period. That's how it works. So if you're doing something that's either bringing too small amounts, do that thing more so you can make more. Right? If you're doing DoorDash every 2 days a week, now do it every single day of the week. You're going to make more, right? Or you can just abandon doing DoorDash and do something that brings in a bigger amount. Just figure out whatever you want to do, right? Depending on, thank you for the likes, depending on the thing that you like. I recommend that you start with something that you're already making money from. If you're already making money from something, start with that. So if you're already making money from doing DoorDash and Instacart and things, and I say that because I notice that a lot of people do that. But what is the difference between you doing that and making more money? Is that you're either going to have to do it more, or what I notice a lot of people do is they go to a better part of town. They'll drive 30, 40 minutes out to a different part of town that has more people, has better restaurants, has higher paying demographic, and they'll make more money in the same amount of time by just going out of their circle a little bit. How so? A second and an hour is different. I don't understand what that is referring to. An hour and a second is different. So that's the only difference, because I don't think that anybody investing, yes, I was talking about money and how time grows money, right? Time is the only thing that can grow money. And I'm going to get to that point. But you can drop another question if you want to. I'm going to get back to that. But that's the only thing you really need to do. Hone in on the fact that you do not suck at making money. Like, I want every single person that's watching this video from right now until the end of time to no longer spend another second of your life thinking you don't know how to make money, because you do. If I asked you to make $1 today, you could. That's money. If I needed you to find $10, you could. You would find a way. You think about it and you go do it, right? Just because you aren't bringing in the amount of money you'd like to has nothing to do with your ability to do it, unless you've made $0.00 for your entire life. That's a different story. And I guarantee you nobody has ever had that in their life unless you're 10 years old or an infant. Okay, great. So moving on to the second point, which is growing, right? Growing your money. Because often, and the reason I want to add this in here, a lot of the people that make content on the internet about making money, because I understand the layers of money with making it, growing it, and managing it, I can tell that they're living not from actual spendable income. They are relying on the ability to make money to stay afloat. So if there's somebody out in the world that makes $100,000 a month, but they have to spend all of it either through not being able to manage it, or they have to pay back the debt that they had to take out to try to get that money in the first place, or they have terrible spending habits and they just spend all their money. It seems like people are going from, and this is just speculation, right? Going from $100,000 a month to nothing, then going back up to $100,000 a month and going back to nothing. I don't know about you, but that seems like a lot of stress for a person like me. I would much rather have a more steady income have a steady income using the principles of managing your money. Because when you manage your money, you unlock this thing called cash flow. Whoa. And that's where money is always there, and it shows up before you ever need it, and it shows up before you ever take a payment from a client, before I ever sell a digital product, before another month begins, before anything ever comes into my bank account from another person. Money is coming back to me because of how I use time to make money grow. Okay, so the second point was growing your money. How does time grow your money? One thing is that you're not God. You're not infinite intelligence. You are not omnipresent, and you aren't in control of time no matter how much you want to be. The only thing that grows money is time. Now, you can bring in more money, like I said. You can be making $300 a day with DoorDash, and then you decide, actually, I'm gonna drive out to a better part of town. You start making $500 a day, right? But that's not you growing your money. That's you just bringing in more. That goes back to the first part, making more money, going from making a smaller amount to making more. But if you think about it, and this is my current knowledge of this, right? I could discover something later and then I come and update this video. Great. But what I'm saying is that there's no other way to grow money besides time. You can bring in more money, but you can't grow a dollar into something else without time. You do that through investing. That's why I have a YouTube video on my channel. In the live section of my page, you can scroll down a little bit and you'll see a video where I talk about the 4 ways to make money. Well, yeah, I think it's 4. 4 ways, the only 4 ways to make money. Business, your skill or your talent, and working a job, investing. That's it. Like, that's it. There's no person that's became wealthy without one of those 4, right? And so when you think about growing your money, you think about, how do I make this $1 become something more without having to actually work for it? That's when you become obsessed with growing it. And it can only be grown through time. And the only way that time allows money to grow is through investing or being in a place that allows it to grow more than it will in another place, right? Think about it. You put your money into S&P 500. You open the Robinhood app. You press buy. You buy 1 share of the S&P 500, which is an ETF, which tracks S&P 500, 500 of the largest companies, right? And let's be honest, I'm pretty sure 10% of the companies in the S&P 500 basically carry the S&P 500 on their shoulders. You think about the Mag 7, that carries S&P 500 along with other normally tech companies, etc. But just think about it that way, right? You put it into S&P 500, I believe the return is something around 8-9%, something of the speculation, versus having it sit in a bank account, which is giving you 0.01% a month. Well, the money's sitting in both places. The money's either sitting in the Robinhood or your Fidelity or your Schwab, whatever brokerage you use, right? Or your Webull. They have something now, I think is 3.4% now for their cash advantage, right? Or you have it sitting in your bank account. They're both sitting in the same place for the same amount of time, but they make a different amount of money. It's because one place is more growth adverse than the other. One is more advantageous than the other. That's it. So how do you grow your money? How do you make this dollar turn into 2? You find a place where the money can grow more than something else. Now you ask yourself this question: where is my money growing right now? It's probably growing in a regular bank account. You would ask yourself, okay, well, where can it grow in a different place that's more advantageous than my bank account? Well, you would go on Google or ChatGPT or Grok or somewhere, and you would pretty much type in APY bank accounts, and then you would look. It's really that simple. So a high yield saving account is probably going to be your thing. High yield saving accounts are not going to grow your money that much, not comparison to trading in the stock market. However, it incurs no risk, and it doesn't incur no risk, but it incurs low volatility is what I'll say. But it's normally 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, or 4%. Inflation is 3%. So it beats inflation. So if you keep it in your bank account, you're never going to beat inflation. But if you keep it in a high yield saving account that's above 3%, then it's always beating inflation. So at least your dollar is technically turning into more money. It's technically growing because your dollars maintain their value, even though your account looks like it's growing. in your high yield saving account, it's not really growing. It's just maintaining its current value. But because inflation is there, if you adjust inflation, through which is normally 3%, that's why your money looks like it's growing, but it's not. It's not really growing. It's just maintaining, right? Which is why I call it maintaining slash growing. If you can find a way to make your money maintain the inflation rate, then that's amazing. High yield saving accounts are a very easy way to do that. If you want your money to grow, you would need to find something that's above 3% a year. It's pretty simple. Okay, so the first point was making money. Nobody sucks at making money. You only probably struggle a little bit with how much money you bring in. So stop doing things that bring in a small amount and start doing things that bring in a bigger amount. Take what you're currently doing and ask yourself, how can I make more money more frequently? How can I make more money more? And how can I make more money at a time? Like, what can I do to make more, right? Second thing was maintaining or growing. Find a place that is inflation advantaged, which is above 3%, because inflation is 3%. So find something where your money can grow at 3% or more. Stock market is normally where people put their money, but you can also use a high yield saving account. There's many other types of ways, which is why I say Google it, because there's thousands of ways and I cannot go over them in this video. I do not have time to do that. And the last part of this puzzle is, and honestly, it can only be done through investing. Every other way to make money is the making the money. Investing is the only way to grow it. So even when you're scaling a business and you're growing your business, you're not really growing your business, you're just bringing in more money. But you still have to do this thing called managing. And this is where people fall short, and where I'm so blessed to have the mindset of this at my age so I can share with other people. Because if you're not managing money well, you have to work hard to make money, you have to keep making money, and you have to work very hard at growing it, because you really do suck at managing. A lot of people suck at managing money. You don't suck at making money. You don't suck at growing it because you don't grow it, right? I like what I'm saying here is so profound that I really hope that people are going to go rewatch this video. Like, you do not suck at making money, so that's not the problem. You can't grow money because you're not time. Time is the only thing that can grow money. So that's not the problem. The problem is that you probably suck at managing it. That's the point here. And so the first things I want to talk about here is number one, debt. Personal debt, consumer debt. Now, Robert Kiyosaki talks about this in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've studied Robert Kiyosaki. I love his videos. If you have not already, went to his richdad.com website and played his cash flow game, I highly recommend you do that. I did that last week. I found out about it. It's a really great game to teach you about cash flow and why you end up bankrupt or with no money through the ways you manage your money. It really shows you why people suck. I literally was able to pass the game in the first day, not to brag or anything, but it's simply because I understand managing money. And it's a skill that everyone should have. So many people focus on, I want to make more money. I want to invest all my money. But then you don't know how to manage it. Why are you trying to do anything else but learn how to manage it? So he talks about cash flow a lot. And he talks about good debt and bad debt. Okay, so all these things are mixed together. Cash flow is the amount of money that is constantly reoccurring to you. Think about a subscription from God, right? Hi. Think about a subscription from God, right? When you pay a subscription to Apple, money's going out. That's, what is it, $12 a month or something for iTunes or something like that? $12 a month going out to Apple, right? If you think about cash flow is that money coming to you. That's why people like cash flow. Okay, if someone is using the word cash flow, listen to what they're saying, because they know how to manage money. That money's coming to them, reoccurring. All right, that's what cash flow is. So that when, let's just say you get paid on the 1st and 15th, right? That means you have money before the paycheck hits on the 1st and 15th. And you have money after you spend money. And you have money after you pay all your bills. And you have money after you invest. And you have money left over after you save. Oh, cash flow is so amazing, right? It's one of the keys to managing money. But you cannot do cash flow if you are participating in things that constrict your ability to have cash flow. What is cash flow? Money, cash, dollars, right? So if dollars and money is what cash is, we need that to flow. So we now ask ourselves, what is allowing my money not to flow? Okay. The biggest thing that's constricting your money from its ability to flow is debt. If you pay $200 a month to your debt, imagine if you had zero debt. That $200 would be sitting in your bank account, ready for you to put it into an investment so it can grow, put it into a inflation advantaged place so it can grow. It would give you more money to buy things that you want and need. Like maybe you're like struggling to buy groceries. It would allow you some extra room to finally buy the groceries that you really need to, get on top of, right? It gives you the ability to do a lot of things if you have money left over. But for a majority of Americans, debt is like $5,000. Now, there's so much back and forth on this information, but I've come to a conclusion, at least this part of my life, that debt is not worth constricting your cash flow. You can say all day long and be correct that you want to have debt so that you can have opportunity that debt gives you by leveraging the debt. You'll pay it back, whatever. But if you already have cash flow, all you're doing, like cash flow, having a job, having anything that brings you income is all cash flow. The only reason is you're constricting it. So it's not about creating more cash flow. It's about releasing the constriction of your current cash flow. And having bad debt is one of those personal debt, personal loans, personal credit cards, personal anything you have to pay back. Anything. It's all constricting your cash flow. I have a free resource in my description box that shows you how to get out of debt for good. I also created a tracker to show you how quick you can get out if you want to. And I show you the exact habits that debt-free people have. All debt-free people have these habits, and I give them to you. All you have to do is read them and then start doing them. Immediate change. But if you even don't understand what I'm saying in the resource, you can watch a video that's attached and it explains the whole thing for you. You can grab it in my description box. It'll be in there when this video is uploaded. We've already had dozens of people grab it. If you watch my recent 2 videos on like my actual videos in my channel, you'll see how many people have already grabbed it. It is an amazing resource that you should absolutely get your hands on, or click on the description in one of the other videos. If it doesn't come under this video, it's somewhere there. But consumer debt is the problem. And good debt is great. Good debt is great. Why? Because someone else is paying it off. You want to know the difference between good debt and bad debt? Good debt is money that you have to pay back. Bad debt is money, or no, good debt is debt that someone else pays off. Bad debt is debt that you pay off. Why is bad debt money that you have to pay off? because it constricts your cash flow. If you take out debt to do something and someone else pays off the debt, then you're not constricting your cash flow. You're increasing your cash flow using and leveraging other people's money. So this is a really, really good point to hit on for when you're trying to understand how do I start to manage money properly? Because Kai is telling me I don't suck at making money. I don't suck at growing money. The problem is I can't manage it. She's telling me how to manage it. Ask yourself how many things you have in your life right now that are constricting your cash flow. Debt is probably the number one, likely. And I say that because we're so under the context of now, I feel like it's even shifted, right? We're under the context of debt is fine, debt is good, debt is normal. Debt helps you by leveraging the bank's money. But the difference between that is the people who are saying, like business owners, entrepreneurs, who are saying to use debt to your advantage, have great ways to make large amounts of money, and they already know how to invest and use time to their benefit to grow the money. So when you take out debt, you don't have a way to make more money in the capacity of that debt. So you're stuck with the payments and you don't know how to get rid of it. And now you have a ton of debt. I would recommend everybody for 2026, if you watch this video, do not take out any more debt. Do not get any more credit cards. Do not get any more loans. Do not get any more devices or things that constrict your cash flow. And then when you end the year with more money, that's why. When you wake up in 2 months and you have at least $500 in your account for no reason, you're like, why is there always money left over? I used to not have no money left over. I used to have no money left over. Why is there money left over in my account? Why is there money left over in my bank account? You're gonna realize it's because you're no longer constricting your cash flow. So managing your money is a big piece I see a lot of people missing. And I don't want us to keep investing our money into resources with the hope that they grow our money. I want us to stop restricting the cash flow in the first place and just stop investing in things we don't know can give us a return. If you're investing in something, then its return is dependent on why you did it. So I'm right now looking to get a YouTube manager for another YouTube page I have. Right, the page is growing. It's in a great niche. I want to get a manager for it. So I met with a manager, and I'm gonna obviously have to pay for the services. Regardless if that channel grows a subscriber or not, I want to do it because I'm not hiring this person so that my channel can grow. I'm hiring them because I want to experience having a YouTube manager, and I'm excited for the work that we can do together. I'm not investing in it hoping that I get a return on my investment, and I'm gonna be mad if I don't get what I want back, and I have to figure out exactly what I'm gonna get back from this. I don't care. Like, obviously, I'm hiring this person so that I can get a return. I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm not trying. I am growing that channel, and I would like to have an expert on my side. That's a resource that I want to get. But I'm not doing it so that I can hope that something changes. I'm doing it because of the joy of doing it. So it's really about the frequency of which you're doing the thing. Because if you're getting debt, it doesn't matter if you want the debt or not. It literally doesn't matter. You are restricting your cash flow. I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't matter how much fairy dust you put on top of the fact, you are constricting your cash flow. And that's the thing that actually makes you see money every single month. More money after more money back to back. And so if you haven't already grabbed that resource, go to a different video in my description. Go to my videos, click on the description and download it. I promise you in 6 months, you're going to be like, bro, wow, that was amazing. And again, like it's really amazing. But you need to stop restricting your cash flow, and debt is the number one way. And often, like, no one really thinks about it that way. But if you're constantly spending everything you make by having debt and expenses that are so large, you can be a millionaire and have $900,000 in debt and expenses and expenditures. So you're making $100,000 before tax. That doesn't make sense. So my goal is not to reach a certain level of a number. My goal is, like, as far as like overall money, my goal is, what number of cash flow can I hit? Can I cover all my expenses by adjusting how my cash flow is? And that's what I've done, because that is what I cared about. And so I really urge you to understand, you don't suck at making money. You can't grow your money yourself. Only time can. Once you put the money in a place, that's all it can do. But managing your money is the thing that you want to focus on 2026. When you see people make a lot of money, I want you to listen to and think about what they're saying as far as keeping that money. Do they talk about cash flow, or do they only talk about bringing in more money? Do they talk about keeping the money, or how much they actually have in circulation? Or is their circulation only based on how much money they're making? Because if it's based on how much money they're making, then they're stuck making more money. But there's a lot of people who have made $1 million and still don't really have much to show for it. And that was the person I didn't want to be. And I had to figure that out the hard way. But releasing your constriction on your cash flow is the key. Every time, every day, there should be cash flow coming to you. So when you're taking advice or you're listening to someone, I would rather listen to the person with really, really, really great money management skills than the person who can show that they can make a lot of money. Because making a lot of money doesn't mean anything. I've done it. It does not matter. It's a drop in the bucket of how much it matters when you think about money management. Like, it's literally a drop in the bucket of significance. So if you're in the headspace, like, I don't know how to make money, you're also insinuating that making money is the important part. Like, I've already told you and explained that you don't know. I mean, that I've explained to you that you don't suck at making money. But if you're in your head saying, oh, I don't know how to make money, you're not only insinuating that you suck at it, and that's not true, you're also insinuating that that's the important part. It's not. Managing the money is the important part. If you make a lot of money and you don't know how to stop getting loans and credit cards and debt, you're putting yourself in a prison anyways. So Focus on those things. Let me recap everything I said that we talked about today. We talked about making money, growing money, managing money. Nobody sucks at making money. I explained that in this video. You might struggle with making not enough of what you want to make, but nobody struggles at making money. And I give plenty of examples in this video of why you don't suck and how you can make money right now if you needed to. Second thing, growing money. You don't suck at growing money because you don't grow money. You'll never grow money. Time is the only thing that grows money. Period. And I explain that in this video too. Last thing, managing money. You probably do suck at managing money. And it's because you have a mindset that making money is important and that you need to grow it to make it. Growing is literally the maintenance of the money. The actual cash flow is what you're actually trying to go for. You're trying to solve a cash flow problem through growing your money and making it. Doesn't work. You have to maintain your money well. And I give you exactly the free resource on how to do that. And I talked about it in this video. So I'll see you guys in my next video. And definitely rewatch this.